And welcome back to week number 3 of the Oceanic Challenger Series. I am your host week after week, Bryce E. Jim Paul. Joining me, not Tim Carbon-Wendell, it's actually going to be Max Formal von Neumann. Did I get that right?
You actually did. I'm quite impressed.
Yeah, I learned it about 10 seconds before we went live. Yeah, first time on the OCS. How you feeling?
Let me just, one moment.
Let's take it all in.
Made it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm doing great. Like,
Yep.
obviously ecstatic, man.
Excited to see some good League of Legends today. Talking about that League of Legends, we will take a look at the schedule for the games that are coming up. So, two teams that have found a lot of success in the early part of the season are going to be the first two to kick us off. Chiefs versus Legacy, OPL, or OCS rather, El Clasico. As you were quick to point out, Bombers Academy versus UQ Union, UTS Esports versus AV is going to be game number 3, middle of the day. Order Academy and Gravitas are going to face it off, and then Dire Cubs QUT, Mammoth Academy versus Mprox. And just looking at the schedule right now, like what's your pick of the games?
I mean, obviously El Clasico is something I'm really excited for. To be my first game on OCS as well, to have Chiefs Legacy, all the history. Like, I remember first OPL game I actually saw was in Perth during the grand final. I think that was 2014?
Perth grand final? Yeah, and actually no, that was winter final.
Winter final, yeah.
Perth.
2014.
I actually won that tournament. That was a really good time.
So there, you were there too.
Yeah, I was on stage. I was also known as an old name that we won't be able to bring that one up on this broadcast, but
So yeah, I don't know. There's something kind of coming full circle though in order to like come here and be able to cast that matchup first. Like that's when I'm definitely pegging, as well as UQ Union. I'm a UQ boy, have to kind of rep the team. I'll try to be as unbiased as possible. No promises.
Yeah, do you have like the shirt? You know, like I feel like obviously the accent, like the American like culture of you get like the hoodie with your huge like logo on it. Do you have one of those?
Back at home, back in Queensland.
Yeah.
Maybe next time I'm here, I'll bring it and we can show it off a bit.
Yeah, okay. I went to ANU and I definitely don't have an ANU hoodie, so maybe it'll just be you repping the one. But yeah, some interesting games stepping off. I do believe our champ select is going to be delayed for game number 1. Don't know what happened, but it's probably the player's fault. Let's be honest. That's normally the things that happens. But I'm just joking, just flaming that one. But yeah, excited for some interesting stuff. I feel like we've sort of, we're only 2 weeks in, right? This is very early days of the season, but you are sort of seeing some dissonation between all the different teams. Like, there's a lot of teams that are currently 2-0. There's a lot of teams that are 0-2, and there's only the 2 squads in the middle that are 1-1. So we're seeing some top dogs and some of the bottom dogs.
That said, though, like having a look at some of these rosters here, I feel a lot of those bottom teams are going to start to rise out now that they have their more official OCS roster, I would like to think, especially the Bombers.
Yeah,
they're definitely ones I'm looking at. Like, they pretty much have had a whole new roster coming in today. So I'm expecting them to pick it up and start to look a bit better moving forward.
Yeah, because we have seen, like, the first couple of weeks, we saw a lot of teams playing with the substitutes, as you kind of linked to. And, like, talk about the Bombers specifically, Zenk, he was playing jungle. He's an 80 carry player that I have known for years, right? He's been around for a very long time, and they're actually coming into the day with 4 substitutions, so literally 4/5 of their roster, like, are moving roles. They have 2 players that, like, Gamble played mid. He's going to be playing support. Zenk went from the jungle, who had a bit of a rough time in the Camille. Better time on the Rek'Sai. He's now going into 80 carries, so yeah, as you mentioned, maybe we'll see some of those bottom squads be able to pick up a couple of wins.
Yeah, Bombers for one. The other one was Vaunt Academy as well. They're also, I think they have 3 substitutes back in. So again, just over half the roster, and I feel they had a rough start, but now maybe they're going to be a bit more settled, a bit more in control of their destiny, I would like to think.
Yeah, certainly the case. And it's kind of interesting as well, because like given the format, especially for me, like someone with OPL experience, there's a lot of like there's significantly less teams in the league coming into the OCS, right? You've got 12. You've got a bunch of like uni teams. You've got a bunch of like straight up OPL teams with their B tier. And it is kind of interesting that they only get to play against each other once. Yeah. Right? So it does kind of speak to these early games of the season, right? It's like, it's 2 weeks in. You start 2-0, you start 0-2. Another 2 weeks could equal that, but it does feel like a big lead. But you don't get a second crack at a lot of these lineups, right?
No, you don't. And I think that almost could add pressure, because like you have that one shot to make it happen. If you mess it up, well, tough luck. Maybe next year if you're back in it again.
Yeah.
And what I find interesting then is the side advantage as well, because I feel that comes much more into play when you're only seeing one side per team.
Yeah, blue side, red side, like versus the patches. That's actually a good point. I feel like I'm trying to think about like the recent patches. We've obviously only played on the 1 so far. Patch 9.10 came out literally yesterday, I believe, a couple of days ago. Yumi's been running around the Rift with a bunch of different opinions. What's yours? What do you think?
I've had 1 game on the champion.
Okay,
and I
huge sample size.
Yeah, huge sample size, massive one, and still kind of feels like a glorified picks to me. But granted, my AD carry didn't do so well.
Okay, so it's the AD carry's fault?
Yeah, I'm just gonna blame everyone else on the
as
team.
a support main, I completely accept that one. I've actually played only a single game with Yumi. Into the game, I just picked Trundle, and then I literally entered, like not literally, but figuratively into it, and I got completely stomped. So Yuumi seems like the best champion that has ever been made.
Yeah, opposite experience.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. I was not on that Yuumi, so I think maybe that could be why you're feeling that way.
Yeah, no, because it's like, you look at like kind of the thoughts around it, you look at Reddit, and it's like the first day the champions come out, and everyone's like, man, this champion's butthole. Like, what is the point? Like you said, like a glorified Pix.
Yeah. I mean, I still felt I was effective in games. Like, you have an impact, and definitely being able to bounce from champion to champion and stay safe, that's something
It's a for fun champion.
Appreciate. I just feel you can't really ride on your AD carry too early into that lane because all of a sudden it will still be a 2v1 lane matchup. So you have to be separate. And she's just so much weaker when she's not attached to that AD carry that it makes that early laning phase, at least in my experience, was very difficult.
Yeah.
So naturally, I'm just going to blame my AD carry that example. So your fault you were dying all the time, not me doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, because like,
no.
Looking at other opinions as well, like I mentioned, like you think she's all shit. Reddit also thinks she's all shit. But then like Rusty, all he's doing, like I'm just scrolling social media, looking at Twitter, and he's like, man, like with a couple of buffs, you look at her numbers, like I feel like her kit is very good. And he's a guy that like, because you can kind of class League of Legends players into like different types. There's people that like very patiently wait for everyone else to figure out how to play the champion. Then they're like, this is how it's done. And then you have the people that like go straight out, first day, ranked game, insta-lock Yuumi, here we go. Like, let's see what happens.
Well, I was at least smart enough not to take this into ranked. It wasn't normal. Okay. It was also low elo, so it's a completely different game in that sense, as we've already moved into picks and bans.
Yeah, we certainly have. So a couple of interesting things taken off the table immediately is going to be the Yasuo Chungi, who is the top laner for Legacy. And I say top laner, played in the mid lane. They do that little switcheroo where Mugi and Chungi kind of flex around the roles, and that's just going to hit the bench straight away.
Yeah, definitely that's a targeted ban, whereas everything after that seems to be more conventional bans. So it's Nautilus, Ryze, Akali, Jace. These are strong champions, especially if you've been watching MSI. They've been coming up quite frequent, so I'm not too surprised to see them all taken off the table right away.
Yeah, especially, and I feel like when you look at the players on the lineup, right, like Thien's coming in, big Jace player, I kind of expect that ban to come through. Beats, on the other hand, has been playing a lot more of like the supportive stuff. It's like a Morgana mid-game, but I actually think he played super well. That's a champion that honestly doesn't have a lot of skill expression. You think about Morg Min, it's like, haha, press W on the wave and you just sit there. But honestly, very good performance, and it is actually going to be a different insta-lock for the Chiefs.
Yeah, that said, this time they're going for the Aurelia first pick. A bit of a flex, could go mid, could go top. Flex pick's obviously very strong at the moment, and in return, insta-lock Morgana.
Yeah, and I like that one. You do take it away, the potential of it being thrown into the mid lane there for Chiefs, taken off, but K-pop, long-time Morgana player, big like mage player, I feel like, played against him a bunch of times in the past and does sort of tend towards that one. So now they have the flex pick in their hands, right? Like Morg can go to Mugi. He's played stuff like the Ryze. He could probably play the Morgana as well. And the fact that they do deny that one and also put it into both roles is kind of a good situation here for Legacy.
I'm kind of hoping that does wind up on the support, however, just because I do like Morg Varus. I think a lot of these on-hit AD carries really benefit from that extra protection, and the Black Shield obviously is one of the strongest shields in the game, so throwing that on a Varus gives you that added sort of oomph in the team fights, knowing, hey, you know, at least Dragon's going to be all right during the initial burst of that. In response, though, another bot lane coming through with the Kai'Sa Braum.
So kind of just matching that one. It's a much more defensive lane. You kind of hit on the Varus Morgana. I like that the Varus can go first, right? And then the Morgana can bind to follow up that one. But that's actually going to be a Vi lock-in. And we saw a couple of these games played in the MSI play-ins, I think, by the Russians. And I really like that lock-in, specifically with the Morgana. Vi, a lot of the time, when she's just considered like a dog champion, she farms up, does a little bit of damage, and then it's like, okay, she goes in, she ultis, either she one-shots you, or she just gets one-shot, it's completely useless. Morg kind of trends that towards your favor. You have like a little bit of the out, because you don't get immediately CC.
Exactly. Have you run into the Hail of Blades Vi much in your games? Have you seen
not too much. I haven't seen like too much Vi in general,
Maybe that's more my skill cap area, but Hail of Blades Vi is actually something very frightening, just because of the sheer armor trade that she gets with the 3 quick autos. Just like insta-pops it. I feel it's a strong jungler, especially if it gets a small lead early. It's one of those junglers who will start to snowball.
Yeah, she snowballs really hard, but if she falls behind, she does kind of just feel like a worse version of every other jungler in the game. But a bunch of jungle bans are going to hit the bench here for Legacy.
Yeah, seeing the Kayn and the Sejuani taken, I feel those are two vastly different junglers, so it almost tells me as if Legacy doesn't really know what the Chiefs want to do just yet.
I would actually strictly disagree there. Aurelia, Sejuani, very good as like a duo, and they do have that Aurelia flex, right? Like you're just landing the passive and then it's just stun after stun. And I think if you looked at Alani, the games he's played the Eve, he's played the Kindred so far to very good effect, and banning away the Kayn kind of fits that champion pool. They kind of know what he plays, and they just want to remove that sort of jungler from the pool.
And they're going to opt for a Vladimir as well. Strong champion.
Yeah, so certainly the case can sort of be flexed all around. They will get that, okay.
All right.
So we got Namumu.
Amumu and a Riven.
Yeah. So this is just a very heavy, I want to say like physical damage team.
Yeah.
If Amumu goes like pure tank, then sure, they literally only have a physical damage, bar a couple of stray things. But this is an interesting composition. You don't even know where these two champions are going. Depending on the matchups, I expect the Riven to be able to chase the Vladimir here. Ultimately, Legacy will get choice of where they want to put their lanes, but now that Zed's locked in, I expect Aurelia in the mid lane, Thien to be able to pilot that Riven on the top side, and we're going to get some interesting matchups.
This is already like a very unconventional first game. Right off the bat for El Clasico, this is not classic at all.
But also, like, I say that, the flexing, like, in between all of these different roles, like, you can look at the matchups, but then who plays the Zed and who plays the Vlad. Like, they can flex matchups, but then they can also just flex their roles. So Mugi can take this one in, and I expect if does get locked in, like, he is the out-and-out mid laner of this team. I feel like they probably won't like that very much. You know, they're much more like fluid, dynamic, but they do have 20 seconds, and that's going to be locked in. So this is going to be the matchups we see on paper. But once we get into game, things could change. Yeah,
who knows where anyone could go. I would love to see that sort of mind game get taken into the Rift where, like, every back, swap the lanes. I mean, that might not be the most goal efficient or
definitely
experience efficient, but it could keep your opponents on their toes.
Yeah.
I do expect them to actually stick somewhat conventional lanes, though, for the most part, at least definitely early before Mugi starts trying to bring that pressure to the side lanes. What has me a little bit worried, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm seeing the Morgana with that black shield, and I'm seeing a lot of dive coming out of the Chiefs. I kind of feel as if maybe they didn't pick correctly into that Morgana.
I don't know if I would go to that extreme, right? When you talk about the dive into the Morgana, she has one button.
True.
And then you have like multiple, like multi-layered engage. Like the Braum goes in, like the Amumu goes in first. Braum then follows up, then the Aurelia, then the Riven. And it's like, you look at this comp, they're not just going to be running straight at you, like in a team fight. This is a comp that wants to come from the side. You want those skirmishes early. You want Beats and Thien to be able to play together on opposite sides of the map and come in from the flank. So yeah, you mentioned there is that tool available. The Black Shield is going to be certainly potent here for Legacy, and how they play around that is very important, but it's not like Chiefs don't have options to engage here.
That's true, but then when you're trying to play from the side, that means you're going to have to get that side lane priority over a Zed and over a Vladimir, and I feel that could be something very tricky as well.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous for the Chiefs. Obviously, they have ways to win this game, as we have moved on to Summoner's Rift just now. Both teams going for that sort of fan defense, setting up that line of scrimmage across the river at the moment. I feel, there's ways for the Chiefs to get in, but I really like how Legacy has built their team composition.
Yeah. I just look at this draft and I'm like, man, I really like Alani. This guy just played, like, he's played Kindred, he's played Eve, and now he's just like, all right, boys, like, I've had 2 good games. I think it's time for a Mumu. Let's just lock it in. And he's like that's the kind of thing where you're like sitting on TeamSpeak, Discord, whatever, you're at home, and your jungler in your competitive game is generally like, lock me a Mumu, and you're like, are you trolling? Like, I don't know.
Correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first Alani, though, in OCS this year.
Say again?
This is the first Amumu.
In OCS this year? Yeah, absolutely. So, we'll see how it goes. I like his choice of skin. He's literally a cupcake. Yeah, it's a
happy birthday.
That's a good time. I sure do hope it is a happy birthday for him. And, Thien can level the Q and actually go over the wall. He's just looking for a ward, so kind of just get some control over any level 2 shenanigans. Lisa is locked in on the Vi here, has that level 2 potential, and also has been a big proponent of success for this Legacy lineup, right? They've been playing around their jungle a lot, had some very good games, specifically the mid-jungle 2 versus 2. They've been working with him a great deal, and certainly looking to replicate that, but this is spicy.
Yeah, Thien actually going for a little bit of an early poke and Chungi within Legacy's jungle, and that's quite a bit of damage right at the start, so Thien giving himself a good start in that top lane.
Yeah, this is a super smart play. Finds out where the jungler starts. I believe he just got a little bit of vision on the Vi at the back end of that. Starts off with a very nice trade, and it's a Doran start for Chung. He already popped his first potion and his only potion before he even got to lane, so very smart stuff is going to give him what will be for Legacy a very annoying early lead on the top side.
Vlad does still have that sustain, however, so I don't think Chungi is going to be in too much trouble, at least just yet. Unless, of course, Alani makes his way up top early. I don't normally associate Amumu's with too much aggression pre-6, but hey, it could be an opportunity.
I mean, he has CC set up, so it's not like the opportunities aren't there at all. He could opt for it if he chooses to. We'll probably sacrifice his bottom side jungle, and as an Amumu, you probably, as you mentioned, want to get towards that level 6 mark. You don't really want to be skirmishing with the Vi early and that sort of situation, so it is going to kind of just stabilize for the most part. 3 minutes in, and I do think a lot of this game is just going to come down to how the lane matchups play out. we have a lot of very volatile lanes, specifically this mid lane. Zed gets ahead, I can see Mugi running all over the map, but absolutely same thing on the other side of the coin here for Beats.
Yeah, which is why I'm very curious to see which jungler actually tries to make that play first in the mid lane, which is why I like how Mugi has positioned himself right now. He seems to be in a much more further back position, but the wave will be pushing back towards Beats right now. So again, it's a bit of back and forth happening in this mid lane. Nothing too crazy at the moment. In fact, actually, I'd say Beats has a bit of the advantage because he's going to be collecting what is essentially like one extra wave.
Potentially. Jungler has opted in for the recall on his side as well. So Alani goes back, picks up the machete and a pink ward.
Yep.
Probably just wanting to play as defensive as possible. Bottom lane kind of getting shoved in. You expect that from a Morgana into Braum matchup. You can see the summoner choice also just kind of anti-combat there. Spacer, who is actually a new sub in here for the Chiefs. So it is going to be his first week in the OCS this year. And he's gone for the cleanse, so it's like a cleanse heal. They don't have the ignite, they don't have the exhaust. They're not really looking for those all-in 2v2s. Just want to play Braum, play defensive until you get to your jungle level 6, until you can play around your solo lanes, and it's a very stable game plan the Chiefs have put together here for themselves.
Yeah, really the same could be said, I feel like, for both sides. Very stable, very safe sort of game plans. Like, a lot of action I'm seeing, not going to be expecting till we hit those level 6 marks. Coming back to the mid lane right now, we can see it's kind of more frozen in Beats' favor right now. Although, again, the wave is going to be pushing right back to Mugi. So it's that ebb and flow happening across the map.
Kind of what you expect. His jungler is now around mid lane, so Mugi has to sacrifice. They do just want to trade this back and forth. Neither mid laner has opted in for the base here, so Beats is going to look for it himself. And it's not like we've seen a bunch of like TP versus TP matchups in mid lane so far, but this is straight up Ignite, Zed versus Aurelia. Mugi with some very nice vision control around that crab. They know exactly what they want, and Alani is going to be the first jungler to the play.
That said, Thien once again going in quite aggressive onto Chungi right now, but with the minion advantage, he really can't afford to keep playing that far up in the lane. I feel that was sort of a risky play at the moment, but that said, Alani is on his way up right now. If the bandage toss connects, this could be trouble for Chungi. It's actually going to be a flash first, forcing out the pull. Follow-up flash from Thien, and there's the bandage toss, it makes connect, but Lisa is there in return. Does not matter, Alani will be picking up that first blood before going down to the tower. In the end, it's 1-for-1 top laner for jungle.
Yeah, that was super interesting. Both junglers ending up at the play. Flashes burnt by every single member of the 2v2, and Alani, I said it, he landed the bandage toss. They get the first blood, so they probably do come up with a little bit more. And look at the lane position as well, pushing back towards the Riven. And very nice setup there. They do look to punish the Vladimir on the top side before he gets to that kind of level 8, level 9 mark where he can just dissuade a lot of that damage. Pulling the trigger early, pre-level 6, and Mumu gank, and that one works.
It worked quite well. Plus, they get the teleport out Chungi as well, using it to make sure he doesn't fall too behind in the top lane. This could open Thien up for a play, possibly in mid, possibly in bot in the near future. At the moment, though, once again, things seem to be settling down. Both jungles have sort of retreated back to their own side of the map. Bot lane continuing to be a bit of a farm fest right now.
Yeah, kind of as you'd expect. Sort of sit back, hit some creeps. Fortunately, Thien missed a cannon on when the camera was looking over his shoulder, so bad luck on that one, bud.
Yeah. It should be worth noting right now, actually, Infernal Drake will be the first dragon of this game, and I'm curious, who do you think is going to be making that first play on that bot side of the map? Because I feel as if I want to think it's going to be Legacy.
Like, I would agree. I think that they have the bottom lane priority, right? Like, they have Morgana into Braum. You expect them to be able to get first access, and now could just be that window right now. Lisa could opt in for the solo. He goes back after that play, picks up the skirmishes, but they do have mid and bot prio, but it's not going to be the case. I expect whoever goes for it will be challenged by the other team. It's not just going to be given away freely. Maybe an objective taken after any of the fights that may pursue, but we're kind of just tracking on to that level 6 mark, and we expect once we get there, some action to really start taking over the Rift.
Yeah, it's going to be happening soon. I can feel it right now, as I feel positioning-wise, Legacy seems to be definitely doing a bit better right now on the bot side of the map if they want to play for that dragon. You take a look at the mini-map. Pings are going down right now as Lisa's making his way towards it, and here comes the rotation from K-pop and Dragon. There's actually not a lot of vision right now for Chiefs. They have a ward in the pit.
Yeah, so they know what's going on, and do they choose to contest this one? Unfortunate base timing here for Beats, and it does look like they concede here for Chiefs. So Aurelia goes back to base, no mid laner at the play. It would be a 4 versus 3, so pretty dangerous considering that TP advantage got used back to lane. Thien wants to kind of keep pressure in the 1v1, so Infernal Dragon goes to the way of Legacy, and another one's going to spawn in a couple of minutes.
That's actually really good for Legacy as well, because they didn't really give up any objectives for that Infernal Drake as well. They kind of just got it for free, capitalizing on Beats' recall.
Yeah.
So definitely something good for Legacy to play around right now. As you can take a look, it's that River Crab is going to be going over to Alani with the Vision Ward as well right above him. Alani might actually make another play towards top lane right now. I think Lisa is aware of that and is kind of roaming to the top side of the map as well. So Alani is actually not going for it. It's going to be opting for the blue buff instead.
Yeah. Red buff up and available here for the Vi, so kind of tracking towards top side either way. I did see a back ping in the top lane, so sort of know what's going on. Both teams expected it, and they do just kind of gentleman's agreement, back away, go for the buffs, go for round number 2. It's interesting to note that it is actually the second blue buff here taken by Alani, so Amumu, sort of known colloquially and historically as a pretty mana-hungry jungler. Kind of used to be that champion that's like, oh, like he has to start blue buff to clear the jungle. Obviously, it's a different jungle now, but it's like if you take that away, it's very, very linear, and you can bully him, so opts in for the second one. Already has a first successful gank off, so probably looking for the second one fairly soon. Level 6 is hit by both junglers, and I expect to see some things happening in the near future.
Definitely, and it really depends on what side of the map is where we're going to see it right now. When you take a look at the vision, a lot more vision for Legacy on the bot side of the map compared to the Chiefs who are on the top side of the map at the moment, as we have a bit of action going on right now. Here comes Alani. He's actually going to the bot side. They are able to stun up K-pop for a bit, and the Bandit Sauce forces out the flash, but the Braum is there to secure the kill. Chiefs picking up a kill right there.
Yeah, they find themselves another kill in the bottom lane, but that was just a straight up 1v1 in the mid side. Off screen, 2 fights happening at the same time, and Mugi doesn't even burn flash, gets the ignite, and takes down Beats, so not sure how that one happened, but both of these teams kind of all over the place, trading 1 for 1.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about that mid lane kill, unfortunately, we weren't able to see it, but it was a solo kill. There was no help from Lisa there, so Mugi obviously made a bit of an outplay, so a huge advantage in that regards to Legacy. Fortunately for the Chiefs, they were able to get something back on the bot lane.
Yeah, so Drakon just going to farm it up underneath his turret as much as possible. Gold lead, as we are just kind of trading kills here and there, is even fairly stable between the two, and kind of expected this coming into the day. Looking at the games we have, Chiefs and Legacy both sitting 2-2 in the standings, won all of their games so far in the first couple of weeks, and I feel like looking at the lineups, fairly even in their performance, so interesting to see how they match up, and looking like a fairly even game so far.
Yeah, especially like considering how these teams have performed within the first 2 weeks as well. I feel as if that like whoever can come out on top in this game, you know, pretty much sets themselves up as the team to beat within the ladder just because of how advanced they are. So unfortunately, we seem to have hit a bit of a pause.
Yeah, so question. Obviously, we just saw Chungi was just standing there not farming creeps. It's a little bit of a roughie there, you know, but did the mid laner of Chiefs DC when he died?
Ooh.
Didn't burn flash, didn't burn ignite? That's a question. I don't want to speculate, and I've actually been specifically told not to speculate in the past, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's kind of fun. You know what I mean? Like, did he get solo killed? Did he get outplayed? Did Mugi hit him with the old 1-2? Or was it just straight up Beats as just like his internet's carked it? His sister's uploading to Snapchat. He's got like ADSL too.
Did he get beat with the old 1-2 and then blame it on the internet cutting out?
Oh, I feel like I've known so many people, like completely different game, playing like Call of Duty on Xbox years ago. I actually got to call out my brother. My brother, older brother, used to do this. He'd play with his friends. Particular game mode, I don't remember whatever. But like, if they were losing the game, you would just dashboard, and he would just pull out the plug, and you never lost. Because as soon as you were losing, you would just pull out the internet.
Yeah, internet disconnect, sorry.
Yeah, my bad, guy. So, that's so unlucky. And they just had like 100% win rate with like 1,400 wins to like 0 losses. And it's like...
rematch, by the way. Oh, it's working now.
Rematch. Yeah, we're winning. Oh, that feels good. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I think probably not. Given that it was like Chungi that left the game, and then they paused the game. So, unfortunately, we will just have to feel for a little bit, but... Yeah, kind of interesting what we've seen so far. Mumu Jungle kind of wasn't expecting. I'm like,
no, but it's been effective so far. I mean, he was able to get the first successful gank of the game in the top lane. Yes, he died for it just because he went a little too deep, but that's 4 flashes burned. You get that first blood gold. Tentative worth. However, the gank in the bot lane, I feel, was a lot more successful.
Certainly the case, and I feel like it's also like dependent on matchups holistically. You look at a Riven into Vladimir, like Riven wants to get things done early. Like she wants to hit her like first item spike and then be like winning the side lane, pressuring, like making progress on the map. So even if you do trade the 1-for-1, like a Mumu versus Vi, you go in, he counter ganks, very nice read there from the Vi player, and like it just sets up the Riven matchup like as you want it. You want to take the flash away from the Vlad. You want to like remove his TP so he is in more danger, and if that keeps happening, then it kind of can snowball out of control. But we are only kind of like 1 kill deep on the top side and 10 minutes into the game, so
Yeah,
fairly even once again.
Nothing set in stone. If you take a look at the golds, it is Chiefs with like the most minimalist of minimal advantages at this stage.
Minimalist gold lead, I like that.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's roughly 100, and you'd have to think that's actually coming from possibly somewhere else. As Assault and Battery being dropped right now onto Beats, who's in a lot of trouble. An easy kill picked up for Legacy.
Yeah, just very nice setup there from Legacy. K-Pop walking from bottom lane very quick. If there was a counter gank, he would have been there with the Black Shield. They would have just been able to walk that one away, so... Easiest gank of their life. Walk up, press R. 2 times, they both press their R button, he dies, and Beats dies once again, 0-2.
I think that comes back to sort of that point I mentioned before, how the Chiefs have not really set up any vision for themselves on the bot half of the match, which just makes it so easy for K-Pop to roam up with Lisa and just, drop the Black Shield, Assault and Battery, free kill.
Yeah, it's certainly, like, it's very difficult to do. When you have a matchup like Braum Kai'Sa into the Varus Morg, like, you do not get that priority. Unless your jungler can, like, hardcore force the mid-skirmish, it's like, how do you step into the river? Zed has a lead in the mid lane, is pushing in the Aurelia. The bottom lane of Legacy is pushing in the Chiefs' bottom lane, so it's kind of one of those things where, like, all they can get is shallow vision, and it's more about the communication than being able to see it. Like, if Morgana leaves, you need to be like, look, he is coming mid, I can't do anything about it. They were rotating to kind of shepherd the play, but of course, K-Pop, he has the easier track. Walks up the river, he gets there first, and Chiefs, they do get punished for it.
And with that, that's also 2 kills going over to Mugi right now, and that has to start to be an issue for the Chiefs. He's already picked up his Youmuu's Ghostblade, and I reckon he's going to be looking to almost rotate to the side lanes, I think, soon as one of these towers go down, in either probably the bot side of the map, because top right now seems to be going all Thean at the moment. Right now, Alani waiting on the wings, trying to find an entrance into this bot side right now, but Mugi is on his way down right now. We have the Infernal Drake, which has just spawned, so we're going to see a bit of a dragon fight.
And that's the thing, right? Like, Alani was just sitting around this bot side for so long because he knew the spawn was coming. TPs are available for the top laners. Thean just kind of tracked his.
Teleport's coming in. Alani actually goes for the flash Vanish Sauce, does not connect, as poor Necessa
very
is not able to connect.
nice.
And there's the ultimate from the Aurelia. Meanwhile, Deathmark going down on the backside. He's able to pick up the kill onto Dragon. Spacer is able to kill Lisa as well. And this fight is quite even. It's actually the Chiefs who seem to be coming out on top. Chunky on the run from Thean is going to flash after Spacer, but is not able to pick up the kill. Thean is doing so much damage. He should be able to take down Chunky with 1 or 2 more autos. Banging his time, and there it goes. Actually tried to do it in style, and Mugi left on his own. Can't really re-engage. So in the end, I believe that is 3 for 4 in favor of the Chiefs.
Yeah, such a close team fight in the beginning. It looked like Chiefs just wiped the floor, but I think it was the Vlad damage, the turnaround, the Hemo Plague lands and kind of strikes back. There's so many assassins. It's an Aurelia diving in. It's a Zed onto the backline. A couple of carries pop here and there, and no Infernal goes down. A bunch of kills go everywhere. The Zed continuing to snowball, but same can be said for the Riven.
And if you take a look at the minimap right now, everyone seems to be beelining right back to that Infernal Drake. Let's do it again. This time, though, a lot of ultimates on cooldown.
There's not a single ulti on the map that is available.
It does not matter. Lisa's going straight for that Infernal, and they're going to try and bring it down before anyone can respond. But taking a look at the map, already Nakisa is trying to get in there. It's going to go for the steal. It's unable to get it smited away. Lisa picks up the second Infernal Drake for Legacy.
Yeah, so they pick up round number 2. Double Infernal certainly feels nice. Bunch of plays going to be cracked in the mid lane.
Beats is in a bit too deep right now. I kind of feel like Chuggy is going to be looking for a gauge. Drops the pool as Dragon's going to get some autos in. Here comes Lisa from the backside, but it's not really needed as Chuggy picks up an easy kill.
Yeah, Beats having a mega roughy here. Very nice Black Shield from K-Pop. Stops Dragon getting stunned up, and he just falls down. I feel like Chiefs kind of tried to bite off a little bit more than they can chew. Like, everybody dies, and they're like, okay, we need to get back to the Infernal. We need to be able to fight for this one, but Aurelia's already falling super far behind, and they're like, okay, we can draw them mid with the Rift Herald and then go contest the Dragon, but give it the Legacy. They just walk out of base. They just beeline to the Dragon Pit, take it down, and get a kill off the back end. This gold lead is still fairly even, but given where the gold is kind of handed to on the carries, you have to fear that this Zed is going to get out of control fairly soon.
Yeah, especially with the power of 2 Infernal Drakes on his side right now. I still want to see Legacy take down one of those outside towers just so they can safely put Mugi onto that side lane, and specifically the bot tower, so K-Pop and Dragon can maybe rotate more into the mid. That said, I mean, they've already put Thean on the bot side for the Chiefs, so maybe it's already time to throw Mugi down there.
Yeah, I like this decision, right? Like, you look at the Zed and you're like, okay, that's a big boy. He's working on his Duskblade, probably going for the second item, and who best to match him? It's got to be the duo lane. Braum, very good at dealing with the Zed. He ultis on your AD carry. Spacer has his R to be able to shield himself and deny a lot of that, but you literally just auto-attack him. You as the Braum player, you press W on your AD carry, and you right-click the Zed, and then your AD carry just hits him a bunch of times, and unless he bursts you, then you're sitting pretty there. So I like the deploy here to try and nullify as much of Mugi's presence, but we have 4 members from each team tracking down here as Nothing seems to happen with it.
Nope. Both sides walking through vision, so it's very clearly scouted out, and now you're going to be seeing some of that vision cleared away.
Yeah, ulti was
That was an
there.
ultimate.
Yeah, I feel like he popped it earlier, and I thought it sounded really like Ivan popping Daisy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? Like, what was that noise? Thought? PN's just going to pop his ulti, and that was it. Throws it into Narnia.
I don't think Legacy saw it. He cleared the vision before the ultimate was dropped, so they don't know. Yeah, it's
they probably they definitely saw him
start
cast it at R1 as opposed to R2, but we'll go with it. We'll go with it. He cast it into Fog of War.
Yeah. See how that one goes, as once again things somewhat stable at the moment. Taking a look at some of those items right now, Merktread's finished for Mugi to go with his Yomus and that Serrated Dirk. I mean, the damage is definitely going to be coming out of that mid lane.
And I like that finish there. The Mercs are going to be super valuable. You're a Zed trying to assassinate a Kai'Sa through a Braum and through an Amumu. They have such a big zone of control where if you get tagged with either Q, you get tagged with either ulti, the Zed just immediately pops. So I like the Merc trade completion there. It's not for the MR, certainly for the Tenacity, as has a 2-level lead over his lane counterpart in Beats right now, and is certainly looking to contest the 1v1. Nice bit of vision does spot out the Vi, so they kind of have an inkling of what's happening on the top side of the map.
That they do. Meanwhile, on the bot side, actually, Thea and Alani stepping forward quite aggressively. I don't imagine they're going to go far. They are. The Chili Smite was actually dropped on him. Chungi, a good little pool does a lot of damage. Same pool comes out as well. Alani's in a bit of trouble, but no, the shutdown is there. Thea gets the kill. However, there is one picked up on the backside, so Chungi going 1 for 1.
Yeah, Himo played, picks up the return kill there. That's actually a pretty good situation. He deals with the wave. His team is pushing topside, and they get the mid push as well, so the turret will just be equalized. The kills will be equalized, but that mid turret kind of just turns the favor over that little bit more to Legacy. He's certainly having an individual rough time, but now he's finished. The Zhonya's, that was a very good pull to get himself out of a lot of that damage, and despite falling down, plays it well, and Legacy come up with just that slight advantage to continue this game.
And you're starting to see it translate to the gold right about now. They're nearly getting that 1K gold lead.
Almost
1K. It's
almost
still so close. Something that I'm very curious to see moving forward in this one, I guess, is how the Chiefs are going to try and get Beats back into this game, because an Aurelia who's down is not, I don't want to call him useless, but not in a good position.
No, it definitely sucks. If we could toggle the gold back once again, we just took a look at it, right? Look at the lead in the top lane. It's less than 1,000 there for the Riven, who did just get a bunch of solo XP, and Vlad is dealing with it fine. But then in the mid lane, you have a genuine significant advantage there for the Zed over it's a 3-0 Zed traveling into a 0-4 Aurelia, and you can see Legacy are just trying to get that matchup as much as possible. The lead is sort of a little bit greater there, and Beat certainly has a lot less capacity to deal with the 1v1 than a Vladimir does. He's got 17 million seconds of a vulnerability. Casts his W, he casts his ulti, and then pops his ability so he gets the heal. In the Zhonya's, he just has so many buttons to kind of dissuade that one, and this is the triple Infernal straight off the back.
Triple Infernal for El Clasico. You can't ask for much more, and right now I believe both teams are definitely going to want to contest for this one. We saw the vision being cleared before us. Dark Binding actually connecting onto Alani right now. Not going to capitalize on it just yet.
Oh, Aurelia.
Yeah, Aurelia's almost walked right into Lisa. We'll be fine for now. Voidseeker connecting onto Chungi as Legacy is moving towards the pit. I believe they're going to initiate it, or at least try and bait the fight in that area.
Again.
Dark Binding once again connecting on Alani, but no one's willing to capitalize it. I think they want that Binding to hit on either Spacer or possibly Beats or Thien, waiting for it to hit the right target. Just fell that short, so finally K-pop.
They don't even want the fight right now. Yeah, they're throwing Binding after Binding. It's hitting Alani in the face, as it should. He's just a tank standing in the mid lane, but Zed has just been whacking away at that turret. It now falls down. Chiefs looking to answer in the mid lane with the Kai'Sa, but here comes the start of the Dragon.
Yeah, Feral Drake does connect. Fan Shots does not quite hit. However, the Umu ultimate does. Lisa's in a lot of trouble in that front line. He will be the first target, but still the shutdown actually falls onto Thien first. It's actually turning into a wipe. Legacy running right over Chiefs Academy. Chungi flashing forward to secure yet another kill. It's a double meanwhile for Chungi himself, and that is a blowout for Legacy.
Yeah, and Alani just can't quite land the combo that they need. The backline Drakon was untouched, as was the Vladimir in the front line. He heals up so much, and he's just doing Vladimir things. The engage wasn't picture perfect. They don't find the damage they need, and Legacy completely ace Chiefs at 20 minutes.
And now Chiefs are in a lot of trouble right now, because not only do they lose that third Infernal Drake, but they'll be losing a mid tower as well right before the reset.
Yeah, and you can see a bunch of pings kind of traveling all over the map. You see from Chiefs side, they want to run straight towards the Baron. potentially this is going to be a Hail Mary call. It's like Legacy, yes, they win the team fight, then they split their resources, they push in the mid lane, they leave the AD carry to deal with the Dragon, and Chiefs, you just got completely wiped. You're looking at it like, oh, can we sneak a Baron? How do we get into this one? It's triple Infernal. How are we going to win these fights as the game kind of gets worse and worse from this point? So
yeah, so they
are
to
go top to get some vision.
And they are rushing straight for that Baron. They might have something here because Legacy has nothing around it, but I feel if they were going to commit for it, they definitely took their time and didn't do it quite fast enough. Tien has already gone back to the bot side of the map, no teleport available, so they wouldn't be able to contest it if Legacy tried to challenge them for it. In the end, Chiefs are going to opt to play it safe, at least for now, and try to find an opening later in this game.
They would have beeline straight for the Baron if they wanted to go for it, so they kind of looked at the timers, looked at the recalls coming out of Legacy, and are like, yeah, it'd be nice. But unfortunately, they don't have the option, so they get some vision. Hopefully for Legacy fans, they will be able to clear that one out. And I think they actually did get every ward. It's going to be the pink ward on the top of your screen and the sweeper gets rid of it all. And I really do like this. From red side League of Legends, like if you're winning and you want to start up Baron, you sweep the pit and you pink the river. Because once you get control, like they can't extend through the river to get vision in that pit. So interesting to see if they do go for that play. K-pop didn't drop his pink, because I think that's probably the one on the top of your screen right now. Does want to move that fairly soon, but sweep out all the vision. Chiefs have no control, and now you can see they have to bring 3 members to even try and contest the river.
Yeah, it really puts the Chiefs even further on the back foot in that situation, because it starts to get to that stage where it's going to be so hard to do anything, especially when you feel like you can't even afford to team fight. Because if they get themselves caught on 5v5, I'm sorry, 3 Infernal Drakes at nearly 5k gold lead, they're just going to lose, especially with the QSS built on Mugi as well.
They have the team fight comp. I think if I look at both of them, like Aurelia serves better than a Zed, and then everybody else is fairly equal. Amumu probably one of the better.
They're actually going for Mugi right now. Voidseeker did connect. Teleport will be coming through, and with a good little bit of dodge, Mugi might be okay. Here comes Chuggy. He's trying to get into that back line. Lisa goes right in, but Chuggy on a rampage, already taking out Spacer, and Chiefs cannot afford to kite this. Beats is on his own, trying to run for his life, but he won't escape the entirety of Legacy. A triple kill for the Vladimir, and that will be a Baron.
And just as you were saying it, Chiefs, they don't want the team fight. They do not want the 5v5, so they look for the pick. Unfortunately, the CC does not land. They buy just enough time for the rest of the Legacy lineup to rotate up to that one, and as you mentioned, a triple Infernal Drake. They land any sort of damage.
Alani's going for the Miracle Play. Bandage shots connect, but Baron's still at half health, buddy. That ain't gonna work. So there is your Baron going over to Legacy.
That was, you know, like, I can't blame a guy. What else are you gonna look for? Got nothing to do on the map. Literally no camps to farm on the map. Every single one of them is dead now that the wolves spawn. So if you can RNG a 50-50 Baron steal versus 5 people, then good luck. Goes for it. Unfortunately, isn't able to find that one. Interesting to note in the case of Alani is that he's actually going for the Leandri's bill. Liquid Cheese, for any old school OCS fans, if you know who that guy is, he was a big AP, I say AP in like air quotes, a Mumu guy. And yeah, it is the Cinderhulk, doesn't go for like the straight up like Sork shoes into the Runic, but he's looking to be kind of the magic damage threat, because given you're behind against triple Infernal Dragon, Legacy can just build armor. You have a Kai'Sa, an Aurelia, and a Riven. They just stack armor, and there's nothing you can really do about it, so looking to sort of leverage that one, and they're looking for another pick onto the Zed. We saw how much time he bought last time, but is he going to face check?
I don't know. I mean, he's so short. Tien is going aggressive.
Very nice ulti.
Is dropped, and it does stop a lot of the initiation. Mugi just styling on Tien right now. The Ignite dropped as well, and he has bought enough time for the rest of the team to arrive. Chongi trying to get in there. Tien is so low. It looks like he'll be able to escape, at least for the moment. Here comes Lisa. That ultimate is available. The Assault Battery comes through and secures the kill for Legacy with 1 man down. Chiefs are running for the hills. Nazca in a lot of trouble, but they won't continue to follow up. Instead, I expect the siege to start right now, and Chiefs are in a lot of trouble.
And Mugi straight up with the 1v2. He almost gets the kill individually. The Vi eventually cleans that one up, but as you said, just styling on his opponents. An incredible game so far from the Zed. 3-0 and 13. If you're a Zed player, you wish you had that many kills as you do assists right now.
Look at the map right now. People are still pushing lanes, and they're just taking inhibitors. They're going to be taking this one to finish this game right now. The recalls are coming through. They're going to try to stop it. Dark Binding connecting onto Alani, but the first Index's tower has fallen. The Vlad trying to find the back line, but here comes the move on the counter engage. Mugi's actually in a bit of trouble. He's getting dived super deep, but he's able to turn around, stay alive. The Ignite by sometimes Fisher picks up the kill, but he's too deep. That is a 4 versus 2 situation. Sorry, 3 at the moment. I don't see Legacy ending it just now, however. They're going to back it off without their Zed and try to reset and get one last push in.
Yeah, well, that was a big play, right? 8,000 gold, now the lead there for Legacy. Triple Infernal Drag. They broke 2 turrets. They broke an Inhib. They broke a Nexus turret. The respawn is there from Thien, who died to the earlier play. So they're playing it cool. Reset. The Baron probably will time out by the time they set up another play, but there's a big swing of gold, and Legacy firmly in control. Chiefs have kind of a little bit of respite. They hold on barely with the game, but
as
let's see.
Legacy with that Cloud Drake as well can even run it back into the action even faster, although taking a look at the pings, it looks like they're going to try and go for that clean victory. They're pinging sort of that top in that mid lane. They're going to try and split the map a bit more. I imagine Mugi will be going top with the rest of the team in the mid, possibly.
Yeah, they don't have like any TPs available. So like normally you look at the map and it's like, okay, let's send our TP bot side, but it's not going to be there. So the 6th man in the Super Creeps will just kind of push in. They set up top side. They just want another team fight. If you get Vlad Hemo Plague onto multiple people, you have triple Infernal Dragon, you are doing bonkers amount of damage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just want the straight up end here.
They definitely want that straight up end. They're actually sending Mugi on the bot side of the map. I wonder if they could take a 4v5 without that Zed, as it could be risky. Zed's actually walking over some vision as well as I watch the main map. That said, no one is there to defend this top tower right now, so the second tier 2 will fall, and I imagine the siege is just going to keep going. Baron has just worn out about now, so maybe a little bit of reprise for the Chiefs, but I can't imagine much. They have to be so careful when picking a fight right now.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of engage tools available for them. Alani is really that only member as he's just trying to work on the rest of his Leandries. Mugi pushing in the mid lane, does take down the turret, so Legacy just trying to take down the inner ring. There's a binding.
And they're actually committing to this. Down goes Nusika. This Mugi picking up yet another kill, his 4th of the game, and now a man down. The Chiefs, I imagine they're going to try that Desperation Hail Mary play, or they are going to die a slow and painful death. The question is, who will look for that initiation? Alani trying to find a Dark Binding, meanwhile connecting onto Thien, already chunked down to half health as this tower is just getting wailed on by Dragon. It is not long for the world. Down it goes. The next inhibitor should fall as well, as the Chiefs are trying to gain some health back by as much time as possible.
And you can see Drakon with the confidence there. He knows that K-pop has the black shield, and he just right-clicks the inhib turret and staunches the rest of Chiefs.
Yes. Yet another tower will fall. Here comes the last inhibitor. Alani just doesn't feel confident. There's the black blade, but the Banner Shots does not connect. And here comes the re-engage from Legacy. Front line's actually getting in a bit of trouble right now. Lisa going super deep as Chunky is just destroying that front line. Finally, Lisa does fall, but so does Spacer. And with the Kaisa dead, that should be the game being wrapped up in Legacy's favor. Taking the triple kill is Mugi, and that should do it. Legacy will advance to 3-0 in the standings.
Yeah, just the trivialities. The last hit on the Nexus here. Who gets the gold? Do they dive the Nexus? Chungy does. Goes for the style points. Hit him with the Zonyas. And,
double Zonyas.
Yeah, that was just a very strong game for multiple members. Like, it snowballed from very early. They used the bot priority, got themselves the first Infernal. Team fight after team fight. Like, you can look at the Vlad. Yes, he did so much damage. You can look at the Kaisa. Yes, she did so much damage. You can look at the Zed. You can look all over the place. And Legacy really just kind of rolled over that one.
I'm always looking at Vi, though. Whenever I see a Vi, I'm always going to be looking at the Vi. And I just feel like, just securing some of those kills, getting to that backline constantly as well. It was a strong team fights coming out of Legacy. Really strong.
Because it felt like with a couple of pauses, and it's like, okay, that game feels like it was fairly long, but that was a pretty quick victory, right? Like, they got themselves the Baron. They ended on the next push after they broke the base. Like, this was really like a one-sided affair for a matchup that I thought would be super close. Here for Legacy, they really took the best of that one, snowballed that one out, ended fairly quickly. Yeah,
it was from the moment they got that, they won that fight around the 3rd Infernal Drake. The second they took that, they were just able to, with that advantage that they got, just sort of take next advantage, next fight, Baron, game.
Yeah, and Alani, unfortunately, whipped out the Amumu, but couldn't find the engage his team needed. But don't go anywhere, guys. After this 3-minute break, we will be back for game number 2.